What's up, guys? Real quick video here and a couple of style questions about how you write rather than what you write. That will help you in all of your writing, but certainly in English. So I'm just going to dive in. The first one is you need to have precise and varying word choice all the time. Now let's talk about subpoint A. Precision in your word choice always shows depth of thought. It shows me that you're really thinking about what a passage says, as opposed to half thinking about it. So if you look at the two examples, technically if you were to read a line from Song of Myself and you see Whitman going into nature and he talks about how he likes it, you're not wrong if you write that Whitman's experience makes him feel good. But if you really think about, well, there's lots of different feelings of good, right? I can feel like contented, I can feel enthused, I can feel exhilarated. Those are all very different. And the more precise word choice you use, the more you're showing me you've thought about the context of the passage and which word really belongs there. Same thing with the word experience. Like there, it's not about necessarily precision of thought. It's just about specificity. Like Whitman's experience is such a vague term. Experience, you know, I read a book, that's an experience. I go to the mall, that's an experience. But here we're talking about nature. So say encounter with nature. So precision is always to be rewarded, but you can see there at the end of subpoint A, precision must be correct, man. You know, sometimes people like vagueness because they're like, I'm not wrong. I mean, you're not wrong. His experience makes him feel good, but you know, if you say Whitman's encounter with nature mildly contents his spirit, and in fact he's talking about how he's ecstatically happy in the passage, well, you're wrong, but I'm still going to give you more points or at least you're going to be learning more than if you just write experience makes him feel good, right? We got to go deeper than that. Subpoint B up there is pretty important for some of my honors and AP students. Precision does not equal pretension. Okay, so when I ask you to use precise words, I'm not necessarily telling you to use words outside of what you know and naturally flows in a conversation, you know, about literature. It's not like this is a conversation about something casual. We are going to use some bigger words here than we might just when we're talking to each other on a random day. But definitely don't think that I'm asking you to use as big or complex a word as possible. I will actually dock you points for that. It's actually kind of bad. And then finally, the second part of this first style question is variation. Variation means that you don't keep repeating the same term over and over again. It's inherently good. You should vary. It's good for the reader. The reader gets tired of seeing the same terms. But you can see in my instructions here, do not go crazy, right? Don't think, oh my God, I can only use the word nature once in the essay and then I'm done, or once a paragraph. It's not true. You just need to think about which terms are easily replaceable with synonyms and which ones are harder, right? It can be very difficult to talk about certain abstract concepts with a varied vocabulary, right? Like if you're talking about God in a Puritan work, you don't want to be constantly varying in like the most high one or the big man upstairs, right? Like that just comes off as the wrong register for an essay. If you got to use the word God, you got to use the word God. But if you're doing something like exhilarates, right? There's exhilarates, inspires, excites, you know, we could keep going. And those are all words that mean pretty dang similar stuff. So the variation is possible there. And then finally, the last point there is do not lose your brevity. Okay. Well, what's brevity? Well, that's the whole question of the second point here. Brevity is just a fancy way of saying being short, being brief. It comes from the adjective brief. It's the noun version, brevity. And what I'm saying here is both within a sentence and within an essay. You want to go with as much sophistication and as much precision as you can muster when you're talking about the ideas of a literary work. And you want to take that maximal precision and insight and you want to express it as briefly as possible. You want no wasted or repetitive sentences. This is something, again, my AP Honor students can sometimes struggle with, because they think that more is better, that I'll just look at the length of the response and be super impressed how much you wrote. The truth is, I really won't. If I see a super long response or a super long paragraph, I'm actually going to think to myself, boy, this person did not take the time to think through how they wanted to say what they wanted to say. They just started writing and they didn't edit. They didn't show enough restraint. So always go to the point of insight that is the most you can muster, but then try to say that insight in the briefest way possible. That's just good writing for English. That's good writing for business. That's good writing for every type of job you're ever going to do. So some brief thoughts on style. Thanks for listening.